Let's talk to Pete Crow-Armstrong as he joins us from Cubs convention. PCA, how you feeling today?
Man, I'm good. Thanks for having Jesse find me. I'm good though.
You could tell that you're still young, and because in like a year or two, when we keep bugging you, you're going to be like, I don't have time for those two dopes anymore.
No. If Jesse keeps stalking me, then we'll be just fine. No, I'm kidding.
What would be the best way?
Never throw that shoulder over.
What would be the best way to describe your interactions with Jesse Rogers over the course of an entire baseball season?
Oh man, I mean, he's always been very respectful and very interested in. I think in the individual. Sorry. I've always enjoyed talking to Jesse, and I think I think interested is the best way to put it. I don't think that I think he asks all the right questions, and he's willing to let you ramble a little bit, and I find myself doing that a lot. So Jesse's great.
Give him time.
Yeah.
Pete, where is your confidence level today versus a year ago when everyone was talking about, hey, we got a really great prospect that we're hoping to see blossom this year in Pete Crow-Armstrong?
My confidence is it took some dips. I think I carry the same confidence that I did when I first understood that I loved baseball, and I think when stuff was hard, it was important that I was reminded that my confidence is necessary, but I think it's come a long way in the last year, just because I have a little bit more experience and reference for myself in terms of weighing successes versus my failures. And I think I am that much more confident going into 2025. And, I know myself a little bit better as the center fielder for the Chicago Cubs.
What we're talking to Pete Crow-Armstrong, Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. Like a lot of people say, you can be prepared as much as anybody, but until you go through it, until you fail sometimes, you're never really truly prepared for that grind. What were you not prepared for that you had to go through to truly understand what it was like in your first full season?
I think what I wasn't prepared for was gaining the understanding that you just mentioned preparation. Gaining the understanding that the preparation is really all you can do at the end of the day. The preparation also doesn't mean you're going to go 4 for 4, right? So being able to go to the field every day and figure out a new routine was probably the most unexpected thing, where my understanding of my work and my daily work was, it's important to have something to fall back on, and that one routine you can always rely on. And I think what kind of surprised me was that was the amount of times that I actually changed my routine until I found something that did stick. And then once you saw a little bit better baseball for myself, behind the scenes, the routine continued to change. So the game is obviously very up and down, and I think you have to be able to adapt to that, and you have to work accordingly, because Craig Counsell's never going to ask me to go 4 for 4. He's only going to ever ask me to be prepared to play 9 innings, and if he can trust me in center field, that's really all he's ever going to ask, and that becomes my number one goal every day.
Kind of a broader, basic question, but what have you found early in your career to be the hardest part of being a productive Major League Baseball player?
Laying off the back foot slider. That was definitely the hardest thing that I had to get past, was feeling comfortable, punching out looking rather than swinging at everyone that was thrown to me. But it's funny, like I ended up figuring it out to a certain extent, and that wasn't because I learned how to hit the back foot slider. It was when I learned how to not even look for the back foot slider and let that be a thought in my brain. So I'd probably just say learning how to work an at bat, and that's kind of a broad answer to that question. But learning how to work an at bat, for lack of better phrase,
Talking to Pete Crow-Armstrong, Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. I've got a 10-year-old and I've got an 8-year-old, and they both love baseball. And I tell them to watch you because of the joy it seems like you play with. How do you describe your demeanor on the field? Like, you've got swag. Would you say that you have cockiness? Like, there's always that fine line, Pete. So how would you describe your demeanor on the field?
That's a good question. I think it only matters what you guys really think in terms of the answer to that one. I think perception matters a little bit. I think it's important to carry yourself with that quiet arrogance that may come off cocky until you kind of get to know me as a whole and the competitor that I am, because it all stems from the right place. So if cocky is how that comes off, then I'd love to have a conversation with somebody about that and give them better insight into who I am and why that comes off that way. But, I talked about the confidence side of things. You're nothing without confidence. You have to be slightly delusional to feel like you can go hit, a Zach Wheeler for 6 innings or a Blake Snell for 6,
Sure.
But my demeanor, I don't know. I think I'm actually working on that a little bit too. I'm trying to show a little bit less emotion because releasing all that energy can be taxing. And, our goal is to stay on the field for 162. So whatever way I can figure out how to do that, then that is that. But I don't know, man. I think I definitely let it out when I let it out. I love those opportunities to make the game of baseball feel like one of the quote unquote hype sports like football or basketball. And, definitely picking my moments to do so.
Where would you fit ideally in your own world in this lineup? What slot are you hitting?
Wherever Craig Counsell wants to throw me. I know that's probably not the most exciting answer, but seriously, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be thrown in a lineup and produce, whether I'm in the 1 hole or the 9 hole or the 5 hole, which I don't think I'll ever be in because we have a 2 through 4 option. But I mean, I think everybody knows that I am a leadoff hitter at heart and I love leading off. But I think everybody also saw, a good amount of success in the 8 hole and having Miguel Amaya hit behind me and have some real success with that. So to answer that question, I guess I trust Counsell to put me wherever the hell he wants, and I'm ready for it.
When I look on Instagram, when I look on some of the pictures going around, it seems to me that you've immersed yourself a bit in Chicago here during the off season. Is that right?
I have a little bit, yes. I've made a couple trips back and forth.
And what's it been like for you? Do you feel like a Chicagoan?
Man.
And what do you think of our city?
Well, I grew up coming out here. My dad is from Naperville, and I have a lot of family that still lives over in that area. So I think Chicago is the best city in the world. I don't say that lightly either. I think if I'm really going to be specific, it is, through and through the best city in the country, from a bunch of different reasons. But I got to do a lot of different things this off season too, whether that was, a hockey game or two, or, I got to deliver season tickets to some of our season ticket holders, and that was pretty special. Getting to see that, Cubs fandom leaks into the suburbs and past. So, and then the city is a whole different beast in itself, but it's beautiful, having the lake close by, amazing food. That's kind of the most important thing to me in an off season is where am I going to eat when I come into town? But,
what's your favorite so far?
Classic.
You have a favorite so far? You have a favorite place?
I have a few. I like this Italian spot called Alla Vita.
Yeah, that's a Boca restaurant.
Yep, that's Lee Woolen. Sushi by Boo is one of my favorite sushi spots. And then your Gibson's is unbelievable. Chicago Cut is the best.
The best.
Sutcliffe got me going there. Yeah. So you kind of have all the options in the world to a point where it's slightly overwhelming, but for all the good reasons possible. You know, Chicago's just is the best.
By the way, when you were going through some early season struggles, and I'm a diehard fan, Waddle played for the Bears. He follows the Cubs and likes the Cubs, but I'm the diehard, and I grew up rooting for Sut. And we were worried. We're like, okay, well, tell us about PCA. You know, do we have something to worry about here? Sutcliffe, when you were at your low point, said to us, guys, stop it. This kid's going to be great. I'm telling you. So when you see Sut, you need to give him a hug because he's your biggest supporter.
You know, not to take anything away from that statement in itself, but I know that. You know, Sut was like my 28th teammate, or my 26th, however many people we got on our freaking roster. He was like my bonus teammate. You know, he made sure to let me know that he had all the confidence in the world, or, you know, confidence in me in the world. And he let me know that every time he saw me. So, Sut's great, you know, and he's done a lot for this city. And I don't say that lightly, obviously, but, man, that I'll definitely give him a hug. I'm surprised I actually haven't seen him up to this point since I've been here.
He's in the bar.
You'll hear him first, as you know. You'll hear his voice first before you see him, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of your teammates, who is the one guy in that clubhouse that you would go to if you needed somebody to give you a little bit of advice, a veteran? And then who's the guy in that clubhouse that you would choose to go out to one of these great restaurants with?
Any one of them. I mean, I would say that the ones that come to mind, and I think that I have a lot of different options. You know, I have Nico. Nico is the first person to come to mind, only because me and him we've had a lot of conversations outside of baseball, a lot of conversations outside of baseball pertaining to baseball. And he's very good at checking in on how you are doing, you know, as Pete Crow-Armstrong or as Nico Horner during the year. And he makes sure to make it a little bit more than baseball. And I always appreciate that about him. But, you know, I got great advice from him. I got great advice from Ian, from Dansby, Cody, who is no longer with us. He's with the bad guys in the Bronx. But everyone. I mean, I spent a lot of time with Steely and Tyson Miller, who, you know, Tyson Miller's been around. But then Michael Bush, even, because me and Bushy started sharing a locker, you know. So any one of those guys, man, I couldn't tell you for sure. But I mean, I'm actually going to dinner with some of them tonight. So any of those that I'm going to be sitting at the table with tonight, I think I would take with me. But Nico, Bushy, Ian, Dansby, Cody, whoever. Yeah. I would love to go with everybody.
I saw you in a picture with Sosa. What was it like to meet Sammy?
Sorry, I heard the Sosa part, but then your voice trailed out.
What was it like to meet Sammy?
Ooh, now I can't hear you at all.
Oh, did we lose Pete? Did you meet Sammy last night?
It's Jesse's phone.
Yeah, we'll reestablish and then we could. But Pete's great to talk to.
Yeah, maturity on his years. You know, he's not going to even be 23 until March.
I know. Pete, we got you back. Well,
I hear you guys now.
Good. Just a question or two, and then we'll let you go. And we appreciate your time. I think I don't know. Maybe you met him in the past, but was last night the first time you met Sammy, and what was it like?
It was. It was really cool because it happened really fast. Actually, I had just pulled up in the Uber and he had shown up at the exact same time. So I was very quickly introduced to him outside, and he let me know that he'd seen me play a little bit. And he liked my low line drives. So I had to remind him that the only reason that I hit the low line drives is because I don't hit the homers like he does. So, but he was super nice and very complimentary. So that was a treat for sure.
And then how is everyone back home in the LA area?
I just lost you again.
Oh man!
Shoot.
We'll tell him thank you,
yes.
Tyler. We appreciate it.
And then cuss Jesse out for having a bad phone.
The Sheridan sometimes can be like that, but he was fantastic.
Yeah.